The main crisis nowadays is that greenhouse gases trap heat and make the planet warmer. The transportation sector generates the largest share of greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions from transportation primarily comes from burning fossil fuel for our transportation tools. There's an urgency of using renewable energy instead of fossil fuel, and we suggest that bioethanol is the best choice. Solar power. Currently, we can utilize solar power with CSP and solar panels. The advantages are obvious. The operation cost is low. The energy converted to electricity is easy to utilize and distribute. Sunlight is widely available, giving it a high potential. And most importantly, it has little emission during operation. The conversion efficiency is rather acceptable. Normally, we can get 15 to 25% with CSP and 20 to 26% with the now commonly used silicon solar battery. Cost is also promising, which is currently a little cheaper compared with the market, and is predicted to drop in the future. But there are also major limitations. The setup cost is extremely high, and its performance depends on the sunlight conditions, which is associated with both location and weather. Finally, the power density of sunlight is very low, which is only about a kilowatt per meter squared on average.
Then let me talk about wind power advantages. It is a clean, renewable, and sustainable energy. Its greenhouse gas emission and its operating costs are relatively low compared with other renewable energy. On the other hand, its limitations include high manufacture and installation costs of the wind turbines, and they will cause fatigue and noise problems. Furthermore, wind energy is unpredictable and intermittent. The construction of new energy production plants often causes issues to wildlife and the surrounding environment. About hydropower, it is very reliable energy with little fluctuations. Adjusting water flow and output of electricity is easy, but damming of water used for hydropower will cause drought, destroy the ecosystem and animals' habitat. Also, the construction cost is high, and the suitable site for building the dam is limited. Bioethanol is our major focus today, and it can be produced by any type of plant. The major raw material of ethanol is sugarcane. Bioethanol has a positive energy balance and is carbon neutral, biodegradable. Using it instead of gasoline can decrease ozone formation. The limitations of ethanol are burning it will release carbon emission. The planting of bioethanol raw material will reduce biodiversity and food supply. Meanwhile, the energy content is only 70% of gasoline and is hard to transport. Using ethanol may also cause some engineering problems. For example, starting a car which uses pure ethanol in cold weather is difficult, and bioethanol is incompatible with capacitance fuel level gauging indicators. Why is bioethanol the best choice of renewable energy in Hong Kong? In the case of Hong Kong, there is no sufficient place to set up the dam, solar panel, and wind turbines. Moreover, Hong Kong suffered many typhoons that will stop the wind turbine. So, bioethanol is the best choice of Hong Kong.
What's the difference between ethanol and gasoline? A gallon of gasoline provides 1/3 more energy than a gallon of ethanol. Gasoline has density up to 38 mJ per liter with around $16. On the other hand, ethanol has density of 24 mJ per liter which costs around $12, and both of them include the government fuel tax of around $6. Also, ethanol is similar in acceleration, power, and cruising ability with gasoline. Moreover, ethanol has less pollution emission, which releases primarily carbon dioxide and water vapor, while gasoline produces carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, and unburned hydrocarbons, which lead to severe environmental impacts. Moreover, ethanol has higher octane rates than gasoline, where it has a rating of 113 with gasoline containing only 85. But do you know what is octane rates? The official definition of octane rates is that the measure of a fuel's ability to resist knocking or pinging during combustion, caused by the air or fuel mixture denoting prematurely in the engine. In the following, I will introduce you about the ethanol blended fuel. In Hong Kong, usually car owners will use gasoline and petroleum as their fuel, but in USA and Brazil, ethanol blended gasoline has been applied to the whole country. Do you know what is the E stands for in the picture? It means the percentage of ethanol contained in the fuel. For example, E10 means 90% of unleaded gasoline mixed with 10% of ethanol. And here arises a question that why we need to mix ethanol and gasoline. The reason is that it can burn gasoline more completely when mixing with ethanol, and the price is lower than pure gasoline, and it can reduce emission. However, the efficiency of the energy is lowered by mixing the two fuels. Next, what is the engine used to burn bioethanol? Recently, a new designed vehicle called flex fuel vehicles is developed to solve the problem, which allows us to use up to E85 fuel. The engine of a flex fuel vehicle is simply the traditional internal combustion engine designed to run on more than one type of fuel, usually gasoline plus ethanol or methanol fuel, all of which are stored in the same tank. It contains an electronic control module controlling the fuel stream to compensate for the different fuel mixture, and the whole engine is made to be compatible to ethanol. Now, I'll talk about the process of producing bioethanol. First, we need to melt the raw material, which is crushing of the cereal grains, to release the starch components. Then, water and enzymes are heated and added for converting starch into fermentable sugar. Third, the mash is fermented by yeast, whereby the sugar is converted into bioethanol and CO2. After the fermentation, produced bioethanol will be distilled and rectified to make ethanol more concentrated and cleaner. Finally, the product is dehydrated and the process is done.
However, bioethanol still have some problems. One of the main concerns is that most countries are using bioethanol mixed with gasoline. Therefore, phase separation may occur. As bioethanol is hygroscopic, when ethanol attaches to the water molecules and contaminates the gasoline, two distinct layers are formed in the storage tank between ethanol and water, and that's called phase separation. This phase separation may damage the function of bioethanol as fuel by lowering the octane number and may cause knocking in the engine, while the engine will not run at all on the ethanol or water layer. Therefore, when dispensing fuels containing ethanol, proper filtration is the answer in the detection of phase separation. Special phase separation alert dispenser filters have been developed that will notify the operator of the condition by slowing fuel flow to less than 1 gallon per minute. This condition is a signal that water is present and that the tank should be tested for phase separation. In order to overcome these drawbacks, we need to establish a proper vehicle by using a higher proportion of bioethanol as fuel, such as 100% of bioethanol. Also, we can use Ceng as material of engine instead of aluminium, as Ceng had lower reactivity than iron and aluminium. This can prevent the engine from rusting caused by the outside environment and reduce the chance of phase separation. Also, we can use imaging technology to increase the bioethanol production by using imaging corn and sugarcane. This can provide a growing number of ethanol plants representing approximately 3 billion gallons of ethanol capacity, with plans to continue expanding the footprint of this game-changing innovation. Therefore, we can implement our design based on that Hong Kong has domestic population about 8 million and the number of licensed private cars per 100,000 population is about 8,000. Also, we find that the price of ethanol is less expensive than gasoline. For instance, the average price of E85 ethanol was 2 per gallon, compared to 2.26 per gallon for gasoline in America. Therefore, we can perform some calculation and we find that although bioethanol is not fuel efficient and cost-friendly as gasoline, its carbon emission is much lower than gasoline.
Although bioethanol is good, using it can be troublesome. What I mean by troublesome is that you cannot use bioethanol easily because you can hardly find a single drop of ethanol fuel in Hong Kong. Driving your car to a gas station and then ask staff to give you ethanol fuel for the car. Some of them will tell you that they don't have such thing, and the rest may ask you back, what are ethanol fuel? That is what I mean by using bioethanol is troublesome. Bioethanol fuel has almost neither support nor popularity in Hong Kong. Almost no one knows what it is, and almost no one supports it. Even the Hong Kong government is trying to promote renewable fuel and eliminate traditional diesel fuel cars. What should we do then? First and foremost, promotion. Let most citizens and gas companies know what's the advantage of bioethanol fuel so more drivers will accept them. Then, with such a demand, fuel companies will be more likely to introduce bioethanol into gas stations. Afterwards, awareness with respect to bioethanol fuel will be increased. People then can easily get them. Next is the matter of money. Currently, isn't Hong Kong government subsidize drivers to use greener fuel for vehicles, isn't it? Then why not subsidize the use of bioethanol fuel also? Why spend money on a controversial and environmentally unfriendly issue instead of supporting bioethanol? That's not what the money should be spent on. In order to make bioethanol become widespread, use money as an attraction is always a very good choice. Comparing with other renewable energy sources, bioethanol are most suitable for cars. Also, in recent years, the general public already know how harmful traditional car fuels are, so bioethanol fuel is the trend. From now on, for a greener future, use bioethanol fuel.